Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam to all the devotees. I welcome all of you to our another part of reading on the way to Krishna book. Today we'll start with the second chapter. I'm sharing the screen. Hope it's visible to all of you. Yes. So uh, today we'll start with the chapter 2, the way of chanting and knowing Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is transcendental sound vibration. It will help us to cleanse the dust from the mirror of the mind. At the present moment, we have accumulated so much material dust on the mind, on the mirror of the mind. As just as on the Second Avenue, there is dust and soot all over due to the heavy traffic. Due to our manipulation of material activities, a great deal of dust has collected over our mind's clear mirror, and as consequence, we are unable to see things in perspective. This vibration of transcendental sound, the Hare Krishna mantra, will cleanse away the dust and enable us to see clearly our real constitutional position. As soon as we come to understand, I am not this body, I am spirit soul, and my symptom is consciousness, we'll be able to establish ourselves in real happiness. As our consciousness is purified by this process of chanting Hare Krishna, all our material miseries will disappear. There is a fire that is always blazing over this material world, and everyone is trying to extinguish it. But there is no possibility of extinguishing this fire of the miseries of material nature unless we are situated in our pure consciousness, in our spiritual life. One of the purposes of Lord Krishna's descent or appearance in this material world is to extinguish the fire of material existence for all living entities by setting forth of for the dharma. Setting forth the dharma. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirvavati bharata avyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतं धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभयामि युगे युगे. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant race of irreligion, at that time I descend myself, in order to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion. I advent myself millennium after millennium. Bhagavad Gita 4.7 and 8. In this verse, the word dharma is used. This word has been translated into English in various ways. Sometimes it is translated as faith, but according to Vedic literature, dharma is not a kind of faith. Faith may change, but dharma cannot be changed. The liquidity of water cannot be changed. If it is changed, if for instance, water becomes solid, it is actually no longer in its constitutional position. It is existing under a certain qualifying condition. Our dharma or constitutional position is that we are part and parcel of the Supreme, and this being the case, we have to dovetail and subjugate our consciousness to the Supreme. The position of transcendental service to the Supreme Whole is being misused due to material contact. Service is implicit in our constitutional position. Everyone is a servant and no one is a master. Everything Everyone is serving someone or other. Although the president may be the chief executive of the state, of the state, wait, okay. Although the president may be the chief executive of the state, still he is serving the state. And when his services are no longer required, the the state disposes of him. To think to oneself, I am the master of all I survey. It is called Maya. To think to oneself, I am the master of all I survey. It is called Maya, illusion. Thus, the material consciousness, our service is being misused under the various designations. When we can become free from this designation, that is to say, when the dust has been cleansed from the mirror of the mind, we will be able to see ourselves in our actual position as eternal servant of Krishna. One should not think that his service in the material world and his service in the spiritual atmosphere are the same. We may shudder to think, oh, after liberation, will I still be a servant? This is because we have experienced that being a servant in the material world is not very enjoyable. But transcendental service is not like that. In the spiritual world, there is no difference between the servant and the master. Here, of course, there is distinction. But in the absolute world, everything is one. For instance, in Bhagavad Gita, we can see that Krishna has taken the position of servant as the chariot driver of Arjuna. In his constitutional position, Arjuna is the servant of Krishna. But in behavior, we can see that sometimes the Lord becomes the servant of the servant. So we should be careful not to carry materialistic ideas into the spiritual realm. Whatever we have materially experienced is but a perverted reflection of things in spiritual life. When our constitutional position or dharma is deteriorated due to the contaminations of matter, the Lord Himself comes as an incarnation or sends some of His confidants and servitors. Lord Jesus Christ called Himself the Son of God, and so is a representative of the Supreme. Similarly, Muhammad identified himself as a servant of the Supreme Lord. Thus, whenever there is a discrepancy in our constitutional position, the Supreme Lord either comes himself or sends his representative to inform us of the real position of the living entity. Therefore, one should not make the mistake of thinking that Dharma is a created faith. In its proper sense, Dharma cannot be divorced from the living entity at all. It is to the living entity what sweetness is to sugar, or saltiness is to salt, or solidity is to stone. In one case, in no case can it be caught up. The dharma of the living entity is to serve, and we can easily see that every living entity has the tendency to serve himself or others. How to serve Krishna? How to disentangle ourselves from materialistic service? How to attain Krishna consciousness and become free from material designations in all taught as a science by Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. The word sadhu in the verse quoted above, beginning Paritranaya sadhunam, refers to a holy man or a saintly person. A saintly person is tolerant, very kind to everyone, is a friend to all living entities, is no one's enemy, and is always peaceful. There are 26 basic qualification of a holy man. And in the Bhagavad Gita, we find that Sri Krishna himself gives the following verdict. Api chet suduro charo bhajate mam ananyavak sadur eva sha mantavya samyag vyavasitoshi hitshaha. Even if one commits the most abdominal actions, if he is engaged in the devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated. On the mundane platform, what is morality for one person is immorality for another, and what is immorality for one person is morality for another. According to the Hindu conception, the drinking of wine is immoral, whereas in the Western world, wine drinking is not considered immoral, but is a common thing. So, morality is dependent on time, place, circumstance, social position, etc. There is, however, a sense of morality and immorality in all societies. In this verse, Krishna points out that even if one is engaged in immoral acts, but at the same time is fully in Krishna consciousness, he is to be considered a sadhu or a saint. In other words, although a person may have some immoral habits due to his past association, if he is engaged fully in Krishna consciousness, Chaturveda Vajante habits are not to be considered important. Whatever the case, if one becomes Krishna consciousness, he will gradually be purified and will become a sadhu. As one progresses in executing Krishna consciousness, his bad habits diminish and he attains to saintly perfection. In this regard, there is the story of a thief who went on a pilgrimage to a holy town, and en route he and the other pilgrims stopped to rest overnight at an inn. Being addicted to stealing, the thief began making plans to steal the other pilgrims' baggage. But he thought, I am going on a pilgrimage, so it does not seem appropriate that I should steal this baggage. No, I shall not do it. Nonetheless, due to this habit, he could not keep his hands off the baggage. So he picked off one person's bag and placed it in another place, and then another person's bag and placed it elsewhere. He spent all night placing different bags in different places, but his conscience bothered him so that he could not take anything from them. In the morning, when the other pilgrims awake, they looked around for their bags and could not find them. There was a great row. And eventually, one by one, they began to find bags in various places. After they were all found, the thief explained, Gentlemen, I am a thief by occupation. Being that I am habituated to stealing at night, I wanted to steal something from your bags, but I thought that since I am going to this holy place, it is not possible to steal. So I may have rearranged the baggage. Please excuse me. This is the characteristics of a bad habit. He does not want to commit theft anymore. But because he is habituated, sometimes he does. Thus, Krishna says that one who has decided to refrain from his immoral habits and make progress in Krishna consciousness is to be considered a sadhu, even if out of past habit or by chance he yield to his fault. In the next verse, we find that Sri Krishna says क्षिप्रं भवति धर्मात्मा सस्वत् जन्तिं न गच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानाहि न मे vakta pranashanti. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Bhagavad Gita 9.31. Because one has committed himself to Krishna consciousness, it is proclaimed here by Sri Krishna that within a very short time he will become saintly. One may pull the plug out of the electric fan. The fan may still go on, and the even though the juice has been disconnected, but it is understood that the fan will soon come to a stop. Once we take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, we turn the switch off for our karmic activities. And although these activities may still revolve, it is to be understood that we will quickly diminish. They will quickly diminish. It is a fact that whoever takes to Krishna consciousness does not have to endeavor independently to become a good man. All the good qualification will automatically come. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam that one who has attained Krishna consciousness has simultaneously attained all good qualities. On the other hand, if a person is devoid of God consciousness and yet has many good qualities, his good qualities are to be considered useless, for he will not in any way be prohibited from doing that which is undesirable. If one is devoid of Krishna consciousness, he is sure to commit mischief in the material world. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattvataha takta deham punarjanma neti mam eti swarjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in the material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. The mission for which Krishna appears is here further explained. When he comes with some mission, there are some activities. Of course, there are some philosophers who do not believe that God comes as an incarnation. They say, why should God come to this rotten world? But from Bhagavad Gita, we understand otherwise. We should always remember that we read Bhagavad Gita as scriptures, and whatever is spoken in Bhagavad Gita must be accepted. Otherwise, there is no reason in reading it. In Gita, Krishna says that he has come as an incarnation with a mission, and along with his mission, there are some activities. We can see, for example, that Krishna is active as chariot. Sorry, that Krishna is active as chariot driver for Arjuna and engages in so many activities on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Just as when there is war, one person or nation may side with another person or nation and show partiality.